You are now watching Game Point Sports Talk with an Edge.
Welcome to Game Point Sports.
I'm Robbie the Rocket.
And I'm M.GOODKNIGht.
And this is Game Point. No fingerprints.
No fingerprints. We got Jay McBride, Big J. We got Troy Brewer, the mouth of Colorado up in here.
The mouth of Colorado.
Love it.
Hey, man, how y'all fellas doing today?
I'm
Chilling,
good.
man. Chilling. Looking forward to this conversation today. This is ought to be a real good one today.
Interesting.
Oh, man. I think we're going to have a spirited conversation about Colorado hoops, you know, because we all have our favorites, though. But we got a lot to talk about. We got NBA, a lot going on there, NFL, Deshaun Watson. So all across the board, we're going to hit everything in the sports today.
Shit, man, before we get on to this local high school stuff, man, let's talk about local NBA. Let's talk about Aaron Gordon coming to the Nuggets, JaVale McGee coming to the Nuggets. Does that make them a legitimate contender this year?
Man,
I think they're back in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? And just depending on what Aaron Gordon does. But I think there was definitely a need for more scoring, a definitely need for outside shooting to kind of open up the court for Jokic when he is in the post. So I think it's a good move. And I think it does put them right where they want to be.
we traded a player who barely played for us, Gary Harris, for a dude who's going to be catching backdoor lobs from Joker. A lot. So it's a clear upgrade. I mean, a lot of these people wanted Millsap to go to the bench, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Millsap is going to the bench now, and he might not get off the bench. So
Yeah,
I think it's
good with
a plus.
That's good with me, man. I think it's a plus. I don't know if it makes us contenders though. Like, I just don't know if it makes us contenders. It definitely makes us better. I believe it gives us that Jeremy Grant type of feel that we lost last year, but a little bit better than Jeremy Grant.
A lot better, I would say. A lot better.
Grant left us.
Yeah, he left us. He left us, but
Grant was nice.
we replaced him with a better player. I think he gives us that type of feel. I just don't know if that's enough to take the Nuggets over the top. The inconsistency of Jamal Murray. You got if that guy becomes consistent, you got Michael Porter Jr., whose game is elevating at this point. If Murray can stay consistent, then I believe we may be a contender. But we're gonna go as far as Murray takes us, I believe.
I feel like it's going to come down to Utah and the Nuggets again in a tough series. The Lakers better get off them crutches for they not make the playoffs here. Okay,
Man.
it's too tight in the West for this nonsense.
See, I think without Aaron Gordon, I think it would have been a lot tougher series with Utah. I think when you add him, I think that just put them past Utah. Utah was going to struggle with Denver because all they really do have is Donovan Mitchell. But I think now they can't match up with scoring because you add another 20 points from a dude who you have to guard at the 3-point line. So I think that really helps the Nuggets in that matchup. But what you said about the Lakers and crutches, you always have to worry about that because that dude LeBron, man, he's gonna find a way to come back and do what he needs to do. So
How old is LeBron now?
36, 35, 36, something
When he
like that.
come back, how is he going to be?
37, maybe.
Hey, we got a guy for LeBron now. Last week we talked about that question. Who we gonna put on LeBron? We got somebody we can put on LeBron. He may not stop him, but he definitely is slowing down.
Because you're speaking like it was going to really, because if LeBron decides that he's not going to be stopped, he's not going to be stopped.
They cheat for LeBron too, man.
He gets calls, but
countless
that's
amount of charges that he had in our series last year. It was ridiculous. But we're not gonna go there. I think the Nuggets were the biggest winner in the free agency this year.
They was all right.
Nuggets in Miami. I like Theo going down to Miami.
That was a good pick.
To play with Jimmy Butler. That's pretty significant.
Shit, man, we gonna hop right into this high school. We got our guest, Carey Price, and what's the other?
Tracy Jordan.
Tracy Jordan.
So we got two.
Couple legends.
That's what I'm
86
saying.
George.
We got a couple dudes
86
who,
George.
who, when you talk about, high school hoops, and I think a lot of us who grew up in that time consider that like maybe even the golden age of high school hoops in the city.
Mm-hmm.
You got two cats on the line right now who lived it, man, who experienced it, who was the driving force of it. So, let's get on into it.
How y'all fellas doing today?
I can't hear you.
Technical difficulties. That 86 team was sweet. Kerry Nash, Artie Johnson, the MVP, Trey Jordan himself.
Right. You had
they was sweet.
Young Tyrone Buckman on that team.
They was sweet.
You had a squad. So I mean, it's hard to discount that, but you had a rivalry when you talk about George Washington and Manuel and even Mount Bello. There were some really great teams. Craig Jackson was on some of those teams. Mount Bello. You have some real hoopers, that came through, man.
And having seen them both, you guys are huge Sherlock Holmes fans. I'll take Trey Jordan and what he did.
Okay,
what he
so
produced
I'm not
in
knock
high
that.
school. I'll take Trey Jordan.
Tracy Jordan.
Mhm.
I'll definitely take that for sure.
Right?
I'll take Tracy Jordan. Yeah.
And nothing against Locke. Locke was my boy. Locke dated my sister, so this is my boy.
Okay.
He's a friend of me. He in Denver playing basketball. He with me.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just say, he was 6'5". He was a center being coached out of position in high school. You know how them Bobby Knight clones was in the 80s?
Right.
Yeah.
They didn't let him go.
Did they make 6-footers in y'all day? 7-footers? 7-footers in y'all day? Your center was a 7-footer? How tall was your center?
We had two.
You had 2 7-footers?
We had Dow and Charlie. Charlie's about 6'9", 6'10".
Can we hear? Can y'all hear us? Can y'all hear us? Can we hear y'all?
I had 2 7-footers though?
Yeah, we had two.
Was they good? Was they pretty good?
We're going to go to a quick break real quick and come right back.
Yeah, Charlie.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Stay tuned.
What up, world? I'm Hillary. This is your girl, Sade. Smooth operator. Hey, it is the F Effect, where we talking all things football, little foolery, and fashion, of course. Of course, style. Hey, check us out every Friday, 8 p.m. right here on our network. Got the knees on. Get the knees. Excuse me. Sorry.
Hey y'all, I'm Drea.
I'm Tay.
And I'm Julia.
This is Water Me Sis.
Water Me Sis is a live podcast on our network where we talk about everything from educational to spicy, and we uplift each other.
Make sure you catch us every Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
See you there. Conversations for the youth, by the youth. Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Youth Media Union!
name is Haroon.
I'm John.
I'm Rashad.
And I'm Brandon. Welcome to Kingdom Culture Godcast, where we talk about kingdom, the Torah, his people, and the land.
You can check us out every Friday on the R Network. We don't do this for the culture, we do it for the kingdom. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
What up, world? I'm Hillary. This is your girl, Sade. Smooth operator. Hey, it is the F Effect, where we talking all things football, little foolery, and fashion, of course. Of course, style. Hey, check us out every Friday, 8 p.m. right here on our network.
Yudia at our network.
Conversations for the youth, by the youth. Wednesday nights at 7 p.m.
Youth Media Yudia.
Excuse me.
Sorry. Hey y'all, I'm Drea.
I'm Tay.
And I'm Julia. This is Water Me Sis.
Water Me Sis is a live podcast on our network where we talk about everything from educational to spicy, and we uplift each other.
Make sure you catch us every Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
See you there.
What's up, guys? As always, it's your girl Nadia,
Breezy B.
And Plain Dane.
and this is Yudia, Youth Media Yudia.
Conversations for the youth, by the youth.
Airing Wednesdays at 7 p.m.
Make sure you guys come out and watch. Thanks.
Hey.
My name is Haroon.
I'm John.
I'm Rashad.
And I'm Brandon.
Welcome to Kingdom Culture Godcast, where we talk about kingdom, the Torah, his people, and the land.
You can check us out every Friday on the R Network. We don't do this for the culture, we do it for the kingdom. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.
What up, world? I'm Hillary. This is your girl, Sade. Smooth operator. Hey, it is the F Effect, where we talking all things football, little foolery, and fashion, of course. Of course, style. Hey, check us out every Friday, 8 p.m. right here on our network.
Jay, we back. How y'all fellas doing today?
Tell us a little bit of history about this Colorado basketball, man. Some of these greats, man. I'm not from the area, so I want to hear some of these good stories about how y'all had it in Colorado back in the 80s and the 90s and present now. I can hear you.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert Coyne was sweet. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. So you guys are talking about some of the greats in the game, and I think the problem with city basketball now is we don't have those same rivalries. We don't have the George Manuels, Marbellos. What? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Big Coop.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I got a question.
Daryl Rex is my guy. Oh yeah.
I got a question.
It was
Gary Taylor. It was Gary Taylor. Wow.
Woo,
That's big.
That's high praise.
That's a big statement.
Yes, Iceman is my guy.
No way.
Yeah.
I got a question, man. Off that list, who do you guys feel that was left off that list?
Should.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So who's coming off the list?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm.
Well, and I want. Right.
I I got I got a question to pose to all you guys. So, and to you two and Jason and Troy, why do you think Chuck would be kept off that list?
Well, you can't keep him off the list. That's the point. I think the point of the conversation is that Chucky Sprawling is on that list regardless, and you can't put anybody on that list until you put him on that list. Real talk.
All right.
Right, and so that's what I wanted to talk to you about, Tracy. We got to experience some of those games, the George Manuel rivalry, and I'm glad we got Kerry on the line too. I mean, some of those games where you had some of the greats in city basketball history going back and forth. I mean, when you talk about the team that you was on with Big Rod and Artie and Kerry Nash and Tyrone Buckman when his coming out party. Tyrone Buckman. Right. Mike Walker. Dr. Daddy-O's son, Mike Walker, yeah. Right. Right. And he was and he had a huge part in the state championship y'all won that year. Right.
Another question.
No, I can. Yes, sir.
So Never lie. Never lie. We'll talk about that too, Book. And Tracy, you talk about this too. Is what was it like to experience, in everything like the pageantry? I mean, having to play the games at the Coliseum and George Manuel. When you lined up and you see Chucky, you see Book, you see Damon Ashley, you see that kind of talent on the other side. What does it feel like? And you got the whole city in the gym. Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. That was the game.
Here's what I want to know. You guys.
I remember that too. They was gonna turn that bus over.
That's my thing. That's my question. You guys are DPS players, and I'm always down at the state tournament. And when the Denver schools make it, Manuel, George, East, whoever it is, they got the whole city on their back. And that expectation is high. Talk about being in that spotlight, because it's happening to George recently a lot, where you can tell the boys are playing with the whole city on their shoulders. Tell me about how you dealt with that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yep, by 10.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we remember it.
Like it was yesterday, huh?
All right, I got one final question before we get out of here. Time's running short, so I want you guys to put together an all-time starting five, Colorado versus the world.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Ooh. Mm.
Man, Book, you got to get out of Denver a little
Yeah, he about
bit.
6'8". Yeah, he about 6'8".
Mm-hmm.
You got to put yourself on there.
Mm-hmm.
Dodge Hodge is sweet.
Hey, Tracy, you better get us 15 boards if you on the team.
All right, Troy.
Yep.
Okay.
We just giving starting. We going starting 5. We're not going complete team. All right, cool. Who you got, Troy?
So everybody's got to put Chauncey at the point guard. My two guard is going to be.
I love him.
Oh yeah. Stacked. I got it. Yeah, no, that I'm factoring all that in, but I am factoring in that Chauncey was a 4-year starter. Mm-hmm. All that back.
All right, go ahead, Troy. Get your 5 in. We coming up short.
All right, so I got Chauncey at the point. My two guard is Iceman Gary Taylor. My swing is Michael Christian. My 4 is a kid by the name of Benny Bean Stewart. And then I got to go with my guy, Big Chuck Simpson at the center. That's my guy. So.
All right, Big J, hit your 5 real quick.
All right, man. I gotta go. I gotta go with Chuck. It's so hard. There's so many people, man. I gotta go Damon too. I have to put Damon on that list. I mean, people don't understand what Damon could do. He can shoot threes with both hands, left and right. I got to go Craig Jackson just for pure size, and he ended up at UCLA.
Craig was nice.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. I got to go Tracy Jordan. Is that 4? That's
4.
I can't put you on it. I want to, because it'd be a homer. But I'll be honest, man. My man Ice Price was something different, man, and I give him a hard time, man. But he was one of the dudes who would lock you down. I watched him at TJ rip the point guard 3 times in a row, dunk each time in a row. So I mean,
give
Price
us your 5th player.
Right.
Oh yeah.
His dad, yeah.
Oh yeah.
His dad's great. All-time leader of CSU.
My guy is Lance Price. He's at Northfield right now. So that's who my guy is.
Hey.
That's right. He's a shit starter.
Right on, fellas, for joining us today, man. Our time about to be about up. But, man, thank y'all, man. We're going to go to a break and come back to this next segment. But thank y'all for coming, chiming in, doing y'all thing.
Y'all some legends.
Definitely. Thanks, man.
Appreciate y'all.
We're going to get with y'all.
Get y'all again next time.
Okay. Yep. So we have to take a break here on Game Point. We'll be back. Man, we got
another guest, right? Special guest.
We got another special guest of the Nation Youth Football League, Coach Mike, the president. He's going to tell y'all about the new and upcoming things with the Nation Youth Football League.
Tracy was awesome.
We out.
What up, world? I'm Hillary. This is your girl, Sade. Smooth operator. Hey, it is the F Effect, where we talking all things football. Little foolery. And fashion, of course. Of course. Style. Hey. Check us out every Friday, 8 p.m. right here on our network. Got the knees on. Get the knees.
What's up, guys? As always, it's your girl, Nadia.
Breezy B.
And Plain Dane.
And this is UDIA, Youth Media UDIA.
Conversations for the youth, by the youth.
Airing Wednesdays at 7 p.m.
Make sure you guys come out and watch. Thanks.
Hey.
Welcome back to Game Point Sports. We are back and we are live. We got a special guest, Coach Mike, the president of the Nation Youth Football League. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good.
Right on.
Nice to have you on here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
Man, I'm just gonna start off. What went into your decision to postpone the fall league to bring it in the spring? I know it was COVID, but what was your overall decision, seeing that the Arapahoe League went full throttle and a couple other leagues went full throttle? So what was your decision based on?
Well, we were going to go, and then we have a team of people, right? And then we had protocols. We had set up a bunch of protocols to put in place, and we were talking about spraying. We were probably the first people that were really talking about spraying the environment, spraying the stands, the fields, and disinfecting the kids, and so on and so forth. And then, we started. We wanted to create a bubble within our playing fields, in our actual game day fields, and then we wanted to create bubbles within the practice fields. Well, we started watching as practices started. We started watching the different organizations, and they weren't adhering to the rules and the masks and so on and so forth that we were saying, hey, you got to do. So there was a concern that, that we could get together, get out there in the game, and spread COVID, right? Spread COVID to the people that works on our staff, spread COVID to the parents that are out there. You know, if you recall, Denver and Aurora, Northeast Denver, Denver and Aurora, more of the minority communities were most affected in the state. Okay, they had the highest virus cases in the state of Colorado. So we took the responsible direction or made a responsible decision as a community group to say, hey, we might want to postpone because there's no way we can control it. We didn't know enough about it at that particular time. We didn't have the funding and the resources that the NFL, the NBA, colleges, and you saw how long it took for colleges to get comfortable and get rolling with it. So we were just a little league football organization that just didn't have the necessary resources to really protect the families. It wasn't necessarily the kids, but the families. So little Johnny can take that home to Big Mama. Big Mama, you know, there's a 98% success rate, but what about that other 2%? That's the Big Mamas. Okay, so if one person got sick or somebody died, that's on us. You know, so you know we made the conscious decision, and out of this group with Tux and AHRR, we came up with a video and explained why we made such a decision. And I encourage you guys, you know, to watch that because we clearly explained why we did what we did.
Now, since after COVID, now what are you guys doing now as a whole to get it back going again?
So, you know, we're starting up the spring season, and obviously, you know, as you mentioned, other leagues. There's other organizations that were with us that continued on to play in Arapahoe and CYFL and whatever else they can get into. You know, but there was other organizations that decided not to play. So we said we'll go ahead and spring back up literally in the spring and start back up again. And, you know, so we're up and running. Our first games are starting Sunday, but we only have a couple of Denver teams. Most of them are, you know, suburb teams from surrounding areas and whatnot. So what we're finding and what most organizations are finding is that, you know, we might be affected kid-wise by COVID because kids move in and so on and so forth and trying to locate. We won't know exactly what our climate, our population is really going to look like or be until about June, July when they start getting out there and start announcing football. Truly, football season isn't right now, and nobody's used to going out there in the spring. So we'll see how that works. But, you know, as we're a company, man, or a community-based organization that's focused on the kids. And, you know, PAL, I was with PAL for, I don't know if you guys know my background, but I was with the Pirates for 27 years. I was the president of them for 15. So I had a pretty good relationship with PAL. And PAL started letting me know that, hey, man, we're probably not going to be doing this too much longer. We're losing money, yada, yada, yada. So, okay. And then about a year before, they told me that they're not going to do it the next year. They're going to follow through with that particular season, and next year they're going to be done. So I got with my guy, Jerome Lanier, and we started talking about forming a league, and we came up with the Nation Youth Football League. Then, you know, Gabe Lindsay and I are, you know, really close, and he and Brandon Pryor are close, and then we came together because Gabe was like, man, we want to run our own league because he was out there in a different league with CYFL, and he didn't like how that ran, right? So it was like, man, it's Sundays, and, you know, it was just certain circumstances. I'm not putting anybody down. I won't do that. But, you know, there were certain circumstances that he wasn't comfortable with, and they were common circumstances that were throughout the community. So we came together and we started the Nation Youth Football League.
And you guys blew up pretty fast. Is this your second or third?
Well, 2019 was our first year. We were postponed, and now 2021 spring is our second.
Your actual second year, your actual second season. But I knew you guys came in right after PAL.
Right.
And, like, you guys picked up a lot of teams, picked up teams from, like, other areas, like you said. Like, how did you guys, it just amazes me how that worked so quickly for you guys, how you guys had this roster of teams and was able to put on these seasons like that, man. I want to commend you on the job you did. I know Gabe, Brandon, and all them, but I do want to commend you personally.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. I really do. Because, you know, it's hard work. It was hard. And we set out two things, man. We were determined to do it. So we had 5 teams. We were going to have a league, and we was going to build it from there. But one of the first things that we talked about was, what's wrong with youth sports? And every time we came up with what was wrong with youth sports, what was behind it? Adult behavior.
Right.
So we said we're going to eliminate that, and we're going to focus on the kids and make this a kid league. And we're going to put the kids in front, and everything we do is going to be in the best benefit and interest of the kids. Now, you guys were here talking about basketball and the stars and the big name players that came out of here. Well, we did that too in football. You can do that same story for football. Over the last 10 years or so, we're not putting out those football players like that anymore. We're not turning them out like that anymore. So that was another interest in us. Is like, our kids are going out to the Cherry Creeks, the Mullins, the Regis, the Valors. Now I staying home, and DPS was, when I played at TJ. I came out in '82. My junior year, man, we played against G-Dub on a Thursday night, the same night Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 came out the victory tour, and we still packed the DPS, had it packed. Okay, students. Nowadays you go to this couple parents and a 3-piece band, and but back then it was different. So we're trying to get back to that. So when you start talking about what was our edge, what was our niche, is one, with all the organizations, man, we brought them in and we listened to them. And we try to incorporate what their ideas are, what their wants are. We try to, hear what they say and try to build the league around that. But as long as we keep the kids first as a main point of focus, that's what we did. And then we have, different other features and stuff like that, we had Saturday Night Lights. So we gave the kids Saturday night games, kind of like Thursday night, Friday night, and DPS, right? And it featured those kids that night, and they got to play a night game, and the crowds out there, people's all over the place. It's crazy. And, we're going to expand on that and get better at that. It was, and there's different things that we're going to do. But coming up into this year, like you asked the question, what are you going to do? We got some things that we're going to put in place that we want to wait. I don't want to put it out there right now, but maybe we'll have another show and roll it out, right? But there's going to be things that are going to happen that's going to really feature and focus the kids.
Now, are you guys open to traveling and seeing other, or is it staying local? Are you just going to keep it local?
Well, see, what we are is, we are Colorado based, and what we have is we want the most competitive league possible. Okay. The thing is we're trying to make our kids better, so when they go to high school, they're better. Now, we're associated with a national organization called the American Youth Football League.
I used to coach it in California, so I'm familiar with
it. So their structure.
Yes.
So we're in a region right now. Our region is West Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Idaho, and Montana. So when you went out of state, they have a designated area, and you go play in that regional tournament. If you get lucky and win out of that, because there's some talent.
Yeah.
You get lucky and win out of that, you go to Florida for the national championships. So you ask a question, are we interested in traveling? Yeah, we are. We're focused on our local first, and then we are proponents of sending our teams out of state to go play in those regional tournaments. Now, if we weren't hit with COVID last year, we would have had, we were going to have a preseason tournament that was bringing teams in from Michigan, Pennsylvania, Texas, Arizona, and California. We were bringing different teams in to have a showcase type tournament to where, they play each other, but they also play Colorado's best teams. And so, we would get to see what that national talent looks like as well, and how our Colorado talent fares up against that. Okay, so local first, and trying to build we're trying to build football back up in Colorado. I don't know if you guys understand or realize or know, but Colorado in this region, we're behind. And we got to do is try to get us back up to speed it's more so at the high school level, but it starts at the youth level. Okay. So, different, that's our way of doing it. That's our platform. That's what we feel. Now, there's other people that think other ways and say, okay, we want to go that way, and that's fine. Okay, but when you set a mission and you set a path, you're going to stay your path. Okay, and see it through to make sure it works. Now, we're still growing. We still got teams coming in from different areas along with our teams, our nucleus of teams in Denver and Aurora. We still have teams that are coming in from, you know, the Highlands Ranch areas and up north and down in south and Colorado Springs and so on and so forth. So we're growing.
So how is the support base around you guys? You got a lot of family support, or is, you know, you have to go out there in the community and promote yourself, or is it like families just coming and you do word of mouth, or how does that work for you?
It's pretty much word of mouth, man. But after our first year, man, we had a lot of, you know, Jason, were you at the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Yeah. You were commentating.
Yeah.
So you chime in about how that Super Bowl was.
It was a great environment, and that's one of the things I was going to hit on, that you guys have really built, and I'll kind of piggybacking on what Michaela said, you guys have really built something really fast and really special, because I was out as the commentator, and I saw just a totally different environment compared to when you go to other youth football games, right? Because the parent element is the elephant in the room, and nobody really wants to address that, right? And so I think you guys have done a great job just focusing on the kids, and that's, I think, we can talk about that. You know, just in general, is that we need to get back to focusing on our kids on all aspects, right? So, you know, they're doing a great job at the Warrior Nation youth football. I appreciate it. I would love to be part of it going forward. I'm really impressed by what you guys are doing. You know, bringing, you know, youth sports to where it should be here in Colorado, because we don't, like you said, we're not producing that talent like we used to. You know, when you talk about some of our homegrown teams, be it the CU, CSU, there's not a lot of kids from Colorado on either one of those teams, basketball wise or football wise. So this, you know, this is something that I think, you know, this is just a pipeline. You know, this is a pipeline.
So when you start talking about Denver talent, you're talking about Calais Campbell, who's now the, you know, NFL Player of the Year, Man of the Year, that type of guy. Lindell White, Corey Ross,
Chris Sanders.
I
mean, it just goes on. Austell Miles.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
What's going
to
set the Nation Youth League apart from all these other leagues? What's going to make you guys different?
We focus on the kids first.
Focus on the kids, education first.
Focus on the kids. And then we got responsible organizations like the Pirates, the Lions, the Warrior Nation, Prince Hall. Those guys really emphasize education. The Falcons and Prince Hall and the Pirates. When you start talking about those three organizations, you're talking about 50 plus years of organization.
Falcon right here.
Pillars of the Denver community, right? You can't talk youth football without talking them.
I mean, long story organizations in our communities. How are we keeping these kids since the communities are being gentrified, like, how are we managing to keep these kids at these same teams and not losing these numbers, or not having, how are we maintaining this city pride, or these long-term organizations? Because I've seen that the Pirates, they fell off a little bit, and they're trying to come back. And I mean, Prince Hall fell off. I remember back when you had 2-3 teams per each age group per team. How are we going to keep these standing organizations going from by the wayside, like the Shamrocks, like almost every other Aurora team has went by the wayside? How are these Denver teams going to stand tall through it all?
Oh man, it's standing true to who they are.
Yeah.
You know, standing true to who they are. I mean, you guys know Dane Washington and Herman White. You guys know Aaron Grimes and the Grimes family. You know, Tyree Wilson and Courtney Miller at Prince Hall. You know, those guys were taught by great people. I was taught by great Tony Wells and Bill Johnson, Bobby Cummins, and you know, I grew. You know, when you start talking about the basketball, I remember seeing Chauncey in the 9th grade in Skyland. So you know what we used to turn out of Skyland Park. You know, and you can look at Prince Hall and what they turned out, and the Falcons, what they turned out. You know, they just had a great coach. TJ, who was a Falcon, that he went on to the New York Giants and won a Super Bowl. And I'm gonna let you guys tell me his name and see if you know his name. But you know, those type of people, or those type of organizations, man, they stand on their foundation, okay, and they stay true to who they are. Yep, gentrification has affected it big time, and you have families. You know, let's not get into the housing market and everything like that, but families sold and they went out to the Auroras, and they went out to the Highlands, Green Valley Ranches, you know, and then you have the Spillionaire organization. And I can't, say enough about how Brandon Beasley is what he's done with that in a short period of time as well, and how that organization, and then he's really capitalized on that. But we're also, about partnering with the DPS and Aurora Public Schools and creating feeder systems. Okay, and then we have other schools in the suburbs is like buying into that and trying to get on board with that as well in their communities. So we're growing with that. But when you start talking about out there and those and how are we growing, when we start talking about competition, let's not forget we got talented inner city kids. And those teams that are outside, they want that competition for their young kids, right? So they come in, they say, they're tired of playing 7 games and 6 of them was blowouts, right? Whereas our first season, there was no blowouts. Jason, you were at the Super Bowl.
It was really competitive. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was well put on. It was really organized. I mean, kids were happy, and they were really competing with each other, and the games were good. The games were really good.
I mean, so like, what's on the horizon for the Nation Football League? What's the big thing that's going to happen like this year? Or a couple of big things that are going to happen this year. I mean, I know it has to be. It's bigger than football. It's about the kids.
Well, we have the Nation Youth Football Organization, but that is under the umbrella of the Nation Youth Sports Group. Okay. And as I said, PAL, just disappeared, and that was responsible for a lot of inner city programming. So we're trying to pick that up. And again, we were affected by COVID. So we were working with, the Knights with wrestling and trying to send kids over there to them, and I was working with Aaron Grimes on that aspect. We want to start track. We want to do a track program with Corey, with AOA Nation, and in her track program, we want to start opening that up for everybody. Because one of the big things in track is our kids don't get to run year round like Cali and Arizona and Texas, and we stop at indoor in February, and those kids don't hit the track again until May, right? So they're off while those kids are still running. Then a month later, they're in nationals or regionals, and it's hard for them to compete.
I mean, I got other questions, but so as far as like we're talking about other sports, and you're talking about other sports, baseball is a lost art in our communities. Is the Nation the Nation Youth Sports Group, you said?
Yes.
Are they going to be branching off to that? Because I think that's a loss. It's lost in our communities out here in Colorado and Denver, definitely as far as blacks. Because I mean, Hispanics, they're into it.
Right.
But as far as us, we don't really. It's not big to us, and we got to find a platform to bring that sport back.
Yep. And so about 2022 timeframe, we would like to start introducing new sports. We think we can transition track pretty easily because we have the resources to do that. But baseball and lacrosse, we'd like to get into that. You do have LAX, which operates out of Denver, but baseball, there's a couple of organizations that dabble in baseball. Green Valley Ranch, the Lions, Colorado Lions, they do a lot. And they just merged and went under the umbrella of Warrior Nation. So you can see that expand. So we'll do partnerships with those guys, start out small and come up big, right? And it's going to take time, but when you start talking about non-traditional sports, it takes time to gravitate and latch on to those kids. You talk about a lost sport is wrestling. Our kids aren't wrestling at the rate that the surrounding communities are. Wrestling is still huge, but you look in Denver, you don't hear about it anymore. And that wasn't the case years ago. So, and that's an attempt that, the Knights and Aaron Grimes and those guys are focusing on that and trying to get those kids back out there and involved in that. So if we can grow that again, that as well. Now, again, going back to the Nation Youth Football League, I don't know if you guys know, but we do a cheer program too. So like several of our organizations has cheer, and they're allowed to go to regionals and go to nationals. Yeah. We had a big cheer competition at G-Dub.
Okay.
Right, and it was huge. And you talk about packing that gym, and the community support for that was just tremendous. It was unbelievable that time, for that first time that we ever did that. And George's coach named McKelvin, she led that, head that up, and got with the cheer coaches and taught them like this is how cheer competition is, and this is what they judge you on. You have to focus on this, this, and that. And man, it was a landmark day for the young ladies in Denver. It's something that they don't get to do and be in the spotlight and be celebrated like that.
Now, how do you guys get funding for all this? Do the kids have to come out of the pocket, or you guys pay for everything? How does that work?
Well, we have fees, and our fee, like for football and anything else, we're not established yet, so we can't tell you what those fees look like. That takes research. But football, we're $115 per player.
Okay, that's cheap as can be. $115 per player. That's cheap.
Yeah, that's what the suburbs say when they come
cheap.
in. Because when they come in, their kids are paying $500 to $600.
Like California, you got now. Back in the days, in our day, you can they offered equipment.
Yep.
You just paid your fee. So you got a helmet, you got a shoulder pads, you got everything. You just turn it back in. But back then, it was $150. This in the '80s. You know what I'm saying? You charging, man, you cheap. I don't know why don't. I mean,
they come.
Is it? I know. See, I'm not used to going out there to recruit.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? It's just used to somebody just coming to the organization because they know the organization. It ain't about my friend's son playing for me or I'm playing for him. If he like the organization, he coming. Or what area you live in, you're coming. There's no, I'm going to get him because I don't like him. No. It's just, but where can we get to that as a whole in the community as well? Because I like to watch the coaches stuff, what y'all do. Everybody got their way of what they want to do. I mean, you're like the owner or director of the, I'm saying versus coaching, and it's like, where are we gonna come as a whole to make it right in the community for everybody versus I want to go here, I want to go there. What do you think it's gonna take for y'all to everybody to come together as one in Colorado?
I would say more like, what are you gonna do to combat the thing where every year you have somebody who says, I don't like this organization. I'm gonna start my own organization.
Yes, that's what I was going with it. Thank you.
How are you gonna combat that issue that goes on?
Well, what we did the first year was we said, hey, in order for you to join our league, you'd have to bring in at least 3 teams. That could be flag and 2 tackle. It could be 3 tackle.
Okay.
So we were really stressing that. The only time that we really let teams come in with a singular team was at the 13 and 14 level.
Okay.
Right? Because at that age group, kids stop playing and those numbers thin out and those teams thin out. Right? The kids really start getting to other things, and football ain't one of them. Right? So when we started attracting the other teams from the suburbs in different areas, and we're at that level. So okay, like I said, the one thing that we want to do was create that competition. In order for us to get good, our thought philosophy is, a thought process is, get good within the state, right? And then compete against the suburbs, because that's what you're going to have to do in high school, because that's what we're not doing too well in high school. Not at all. Okay, so but when you start talking about these guys that get mad and say, hey, we want to start our own organization, that's we really don't encourage that. In Park Hill, you got 4 organizations probably in a 5-block radius or a 5-mile radius. They fighting for the same kids, and those numbers shrunk. So when we grew up, or when you grew up, I remember the Pirates had 220 kids. We grew up to that. It blew up to that. And Prince Hall didn't have any problems. The Falcons didn't have any problems.
It was a park full of kids.
There's a park, it's a park full of kids. And, so now the gentrification hit and the dynamics and everything is changing. It's harder for those guys. It's less kids. And then you have the concussion thing, So when you have somebody that says, man, I'm going to start my own organization, there's a guy, Marquise Enoch. He started the Box State Hornets. Now, they haven't played yet. Their first year was supposed to be in the fall. They're in the spring. And, man, you talk about somebody that's building it the right way.
I know. I met Marquise throughout all of this. I've been talking to him. Actually, talked to him today, and that's a crazy thing. But he is doing it the right way.
When you start, we can't discourage that. Okay, there's another organization, the Mile High Thoroughbreds. They're brand new. Again, they left one organization and they were starting their own. We can't stop it. But the thing is what we can tell them is, man, you got to have X amount of teams. Will we carry that forward? Because of coming out of COVID, You have people that lost kids, and they're going to have lesser number of teams. So we're going to have to reevaluate that. Because one thing we have to be careful of is, saying that we're about the kids. We can't turn around and say, no, you got kids and you can't play with them.
But yes.
Okay? We can't say, oh, we're all about travel, but we're going to leave these local kids behind. Okay? We got to think about the whole big picture. And that's a tremendous responsibility, and it's tremendous pressure.
Yeah, because I was watching during the COVID, none of the states can play within their states. They have to travel. And now it seems like nobody want to go back into a league now. They want to do the travel ball. I know it's going to be kind of a task.
That's fine. It's We're not in our season yet, so I don't know. I know what a couple of organizations want to do.
Okay.
And like I said, as I said earlier, man, our platform is our platform, and we have to stay true to who we are because we have a vision and we have a population of people that we have to consider, right? So you want to do that travel thing, that's your thing, and we ain't gonna sit here and hate. In this day and age, in our community, we're not going to. It's not wise or smart to sit here and fight against one another.
That's what I was going with. I got you, Chief.
It's not wise or smart to do that. So I'm not going to sit here and hate on anybody. I'm going to wish you the best of luck. When obviously you're not going to please everybody. So in our first year, there was a team that came out. I'm going to say what area of town, but they were just their parents were just.
Not right.
Just like they were just good, and the guy was like, man, we don't like it here and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, you know what? Go out and check out other organizations. Go out and check that out, leagues. And he did, and he got mistreated. He wasn't in one league about 2 months before he had to leave. It wasn't even football season.
Wow.
Then another league season comes up. So, and we told him, Brandon Pryor and I both had a talk with him. We just, casually, hey, man, you always got a home with us. We understand what you got to do, and we agree because we were going to tell you to do the same thing. But, once you go out there and learn and get that experience, you want to come back, you got a home for us. And that's everybody, man. I mean, we're not going to sit up here. We built this for our kids to have an opportunity to play. People don't realize that Pound left, and these kids possibly would not have a place to play. Right. So we provided that. So we can't, we're taking our second and third steps and we start looking at, expanding out of the state and then in turn leaving kids behind.
Yes.
The last question is, you answered all my questions.
Well,
he has one more question.
I do. I think when you talk about building a home and letting people go out and discover something, or letting them be themselves. I think that's very, very important strategically. You know what I'm saying? And I think you're going to gain more teams than you lose with that philosophy. Of course, putting the kids first with that philosophy. What are some of the other factors outside of COVID, outside of gentrification, that you have kind of seen that your kids are having, or your families are having to deal with it? Because the kid is just one part of that. So,
well, when you start talking about COVID, man, you really you have to talk about how it affected them mentally, and that was a big decision on our part. And I'll tell you this, we're a team. It's Gabe, Jerome, myself, Brandon, and a couple other people that were on the board, and then we listen to the people that really make our group grow, and that's Jerome's responsible for those everything that happens on the field and all the people that support us. Man, we have a doctor on our staff, a sports medicine doctor on our staff. We have Mrs. Pryor, Brandon's wife, on staff as our attorney, and we have an accountant, Misty Bell. So we're fully staffed, but so the decision to not do it, my thing was I didn't want to not have a season, but as a team, that decision is made. You put your personal feelings aside and you go what's right with the flow of the organization, and you live it. right? But one of the biggest factors was we were sitting in the house, kids were sitting in the house from March all the way through the summer, you know, and you start talking about their mental health and getting bored and having to go back to school, and how are they psychologically at school at home, and how are they psychologically affected, and can they get outside and play? And they couldn't. So when we were making a decision not to, but you know, other people did go. And then I had people in other leagues, people I work out of Lockheed Martin, and their, you know, kids still played in the Jeffco and the Arapahoe, and they're like, man, we didn't have any cases. And how do you know? You guys weren't tracking anything. What were you tracing? What were you tracking? How do you know? And it turns out that there was cases out there. There was kids catching COVID. There was people and families catching COVID. They didn't do what was necessary to protect those people. So when you start weighing that, man, that weight became real heavy.
Yes.
Okay, because we some people was with us, some orgs were with us, some were against us and saying, okay, we're gonna go off and play. And that was their decision because they understood what we understood. These kids can't sit around, and that was the mental aspect of it in dealing with those kids and their families.
Have you been able to, one more question before you go, have you been able to tell, you know, getting the kids back into playing, have you been able to tell the mental effect that COVID has had on them?
Man, not the kids that did not play. There's the kids that did play, obviously, you know, they fought through it and they played, and I would have to say that, you know, they're not mentally affected as much as a kid that has not played. We haven't, you know, we don't have those kids back in our possession yet to be able to make that understanding or talk to their parents like that, to have that kind of understanding, you know. But, you know, so we don't know that, and it'll probably behoove us to put something together, a special project together, to try to feel that out or understand that. Yeah. You know, in your organizations and with Dane and enough different organizations that focuses on mental health, we try to incorporate that into in our first year, you know, because, you know, kids so quickly opt to suicide.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, those elements, we're just not. You know, it's not just about football with us. Right. It's about community. That's
so impressive. That is what's
it's
so
about,
impressive.
You know, you start talking about, you know, me and the Cigar Lords, and you know, Brandon, you know, and he and Rod, Rod used to play with the Denver Broncos, and he's with us. A Strategy is this company, and you know, they did a coat drive and a toy drive. You know, we did turkeys. We did a toy drive, and man, I caught up all those kids from all the different organizations and teams, and it's about community. And Alan Webb, working with Alan Webb before we got hit, we were going to put in place, I mean, how many times, unfortunately, you see a funeral and you see a GoFundMe come after that, where there's insurance policies out there for them that are damn near for free, that, you know, you pay for the funeral and you still have money left over.
Yes.
Okay, so we were implementing that into our camp as well. So when you start talking about what separates us, it's that we're just not singly focused on football. We're focused on the community.
Okay, so I mean, I want to thank you for coming out.
I appreciate you.
Our network wants to work with the Nation Youth Football League, continue to grow it bigger and better.
Well, like as you said, what we're going to announce, I'll be here with you guys again. We'll be announcing something big come June.
And then also got a couple quick comments. Kay Tona says, Coach Mike, super OG. Nick the Quick Jackson says, Mike, you're a great guy. Keep pushing the nation.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know that the people out there supporting you. We support you. We support the nation. And we're glad you're doing your thing. Glad you could stop by, take time out your busy day. And
I'm glad you guys have me on, man. And
yes,
to you guys are doing a wonderful job. You were on our Facebook page, and you know, I'm really particular about what gets on there. But you guys are focusing on UETA and this sports talk, and that's right up our alley, man. So you know, those are the things that we want to focus on and concentrate on, this positivity for the kids, man.
Yeah, definitely make this community strong.
And watch my man Kendall Perkins and his comments about AAU. Pull that up on YouTube. Okay. And that is tremendous. That's what we're trying to stay away from, and stuff like that, you know. So thank you for having me, man.
Yes, sir. Anytime.
And when y'all want to talk old school football, bring me back.
We will talk some old school football. That's gonna be the next one.
I use Spartan, so you know about Lloyd Day and come on, man.
We can go Tony Carr and all that. Yeah.
We're gonna take a quick break, man. We're gonna take a quick break.
Herman Motts.
And we'll be back in a minute.
There were some great TJ teams, yeah.
All right.
Excuse me. Sorry. Hey y'all, I'm Drea.
I'm Tay.
And I'm Julia. This is Water Me Sis.
Water Me Sis is a live podcast on our network where we talk about everything from educational to spicy, and we uplift each other.
Make sure you catch us every Sunday at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time.
See you there.
My name is Haroon. I'm John.
I'm Rashad. And I'm Brandon.
Welcome to Kingdom Culture Godcast, where we talk about Kingdom, the Torah, His people, and the land.
You can check us out every Friday on the R Network. We don't do this for the culture, we do it for the kingdom. Shalom.
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 Welcome back to Game Point. Last quarter, we about to end it on out real quick. We got Coach Mike, formerly of the Pirates, with the running the Nation Youth Football League, doing his thing. I got a quick question. I don't know if you're a Bronco fan or not.
I'm a Steeler fan, man.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my little brother.
Well, that kind of messed up my question.
Well, what's your Bronco question?
My Bronco question, man, with all these moves that they made, do you think the Broncos are coming back? I mean, think they're on their way back?
Man, the NFL is based on what your quarterback does, and the big question is Drew Lock and what can he do? Because he has weapons. He has weapons. I hate to see Phil go, and I wish they would have paid that young man his money. It was going to take that much because you see he used to sign for $3.25. You know, get a man his money.
$5 million, $10 million.
I just want to ask you a question.
We do have Troy Brewer in the house.
I want to ask you, since you guys are where are the Broncos coming back from? I just want to know where you said coming back. Where are they coming back from?
We're coming back from losing, but we're going back to being a dynasty.
Hang on, 49er fan. We won.
49er fans.
We won our last playoff game
5 years ago.
We won it though.
Okay.
It was the big one though.
Was it the big
We better
one?
than y'all.
It was the big one.
We're better than y'all.
All right. I mean,
so we're
we could talk football real quick. Get up out of here. Let's talk a little football.
But you tell me something about the Broncos. Right. Tell me who's their starting defensive line.
Starting defensive line, we got Von Miller.
No, defensive line. Shelby.
We got Shelby Harris.
Draymond, and Mike Purcell.
Most people can't answer that question. So then I ask them, well, what kind of Bronco fan are you? You can't even tell me who your defensive line is.
I mean, I was going to go across the whole line. You know?
What's wrong with your offensive line?
Our offensive line, man, we got some studs coming back, man. We got some studs coming back. Ain't nothing wrong with it, man.
Now, is the coach thing, you got your quarterback issue.
We do have
I don't want to take over your show.
We do have a quarterback issue.
You got a quarterback, but which is bigger, the quarterback issue or the coach issue?
I think it's the coach issue.
I love Coach Fangio.
Why?
He's old school.
Because he knows how to take
he's a senior
team
citizen.
That's
you're
not
close
playing well and put those bricks in place and build it up. And because when the way he deals with star players like Von Miller, you can be better. Justin Simmons, you can be better. That's what this. Listen, when Peyton left us, he put a big old hole in Denver. Okay, we didn't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
And so we kept trying to duct tape teams together and send them out there. Okay.
Isn't that what you guys are doing this year?
No, that's not what we're doing this year. That's not what we're doing this year. George Payton, he's way better at this than Elway, and way better.
But I think Coach Mike said it. You don't have a quarterback.
We're working on that. It's going to happen. The season hasn't started. The season hasn't started yet,
bro.
You have what?
Drew's
season hasn't started yet.
He's on the roster. Yes,
he's
you have a quarterback on the
puppy.
Roster. So I would say to answer your question, the question is I would say it's the coaching problem. Because Fangio has lost games for us by himself by making terrible decisions.
So how do you justify keeping it? Would right now be a good time to transfer?
Well, this is everybody's last 1 year deal. Prove it. You got Vaughn on a 1 year deal. You got Fangio on a 1 year deal. If we don't do anything this year, it's all over. What you got to say?
Can I say something? So, aren't you guys just setting yourself up for another? Because since everybody's on a 1 year deal. You know, when that 1 year's over, then everybody's gone. You got to start again, right?
To say everybody's going to be gone when you create winning.
Hang on, Mr. Gloom and Doom. We won our last playoff game. Your Super Bowl drought is way longer than
It doesn't
ours.
matter
ain't
though.
it?
We're better than y'all though.
Ain't it currently?
We're better than y'all though.
Currently, no. We just was
We're better than y'all.
to win.
Hold on.
Yeah,
hold
you're
on.
right.
We're better than
We all
y'all.
talking over each other.
Talking about
We all talking over each other. I'm gonna give you the last 5. I'm gonna give you 5 seconds to say what you got to say about your team.
I think if we do get this number 3 pick, like they're talking about right now, I think that puts us right back where we want to be.
And who is your team?
The San Francisco
bunch of
49ers.
nobodies, right?
The San Francisco 49ers, who beat the Broncos religiously.
Okay, let's go.
Religiously.
Who's your team?
All right, look. When I think of 2 numbers, I think of 55-10. That's the only thing I think of. When I think of 2 numbers, 55-10.
Anyways,
so 2 numbers, 55-10.
Let's go to the next.
55-10.
Thank you.
That's what I think of 2 numbers. I think of the Broncos, I think of 55-10.
Yeah. Go nickel. Speed
Well, if you go to me next, man, I'm gonna tell y'all this. If everybody's listening, if you're a Bronco fan, come on out to Pittsburgh with me when the Steelers and the Broncos play. You're gonna get a true experience of what football is like. I went back. Me and my son went back 2 years ago to the Buffalo Bill game. I had never been to a Steeler game. You talking about a town that parties for it's like it's a professional college atmosphere.
That's right. Okay. Everybody at Permanente Brothers, right?
Everybody's getting in on Thursday, and it's a party every night.
All the bridges is yellow. It's dope out there.
We are a sleeping giant. The only thing that can happen to the Broncos is Drew Lock doesn't improve.
Man, you got to deal with Kansas City.
It's all about Super Bowl.
And the Chargers. And the Raiders.
Who's getting one?
And the Raiders. The Raiders have it coming.
It's all about.
I can only worry about us.
Who
Broncos. You know, I listen. I'm born at Denver General. Okay.
But you talk a lot of Aurora though. but it's all right, man. I don't know. I am picking the Patriots. I mean, not the.
Oh my!
My bad.
Hey man,
no, I'm wrong.
Hey, that's you on to something.
You gotta put $1 in the
I
jar,
never
man.
picked the Patriots. I meant to say
I won't pick them to win it.
the Buccaneers and the Broncos.
Homer.
It's gonna be a good game,
man. What the Patriots is doing is scary. Now, can you make all that talent gel? Dan Snyder used to think you can buy a team.
Can't buy a team.
All
Yankees
right,
keep getting all the time.
we know Homer to it. Who's going to the Super Bowl? And we about to get up out of here.
San Francisco.
No Homer to it.
There's no Homer to it.
Okay.
San Francisco. And in the AFC, I mean, I think it's tough, but I think the league has Kansas City's recipe to beat them. So I'll go Baltimore.
Baltimore. Okay.
You think Lamar can take it?
I'm going my Niners, but if I ain't gonna be a homer, I'm gonna go Tampa Bay.
There's no way I could take another team.
Well, I'm a Niner though. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, but just so I don't be biased.
You got Tampa.
I got Tampa Bay, and I got the Colts for some freaking reason. I like the Colts. I don't know why.
Who's their quarterback?
It's
not Phillip Rivers.
And shouts out to J Mont, Coach Dallas, Dallas Cowboys is everybody's big brother. What he says, you know, but I don't agree with that. Who you got? Who you got in your Super Bowl?
Texas, man, you know better than that. So I mean, there's a lot of contenders in the AFC, man, but you know, you always gotta take in consideration the greatest coach of all time and what he's able to put together. If they buy into that system, New England's going to be right back in that fold.
Oh, don't say that. There's 2 guys in the back right now.
Yeah, they're going to be right. And I'm a Steelers fan, man.
Like, how much he paid you to say that today?
Man, I'm just telling you, man. And then
paid him to say that.
From the NFC, you know, the biggest threat to the Buccaneers is the Buccaneers themselves. But the Green Bay Packers.
I said Green Bay. I think Green Bay, too.
I think all them teams is over the hill, and they in the past. The Super Bowl next year, since my Broncos are still building up to that stage, they're going to get beat by Buffalo in the AFC Championship. Buffalo. And Buffalo's going to play the Cardinals because Kyler Murray is the real deal.
With A.J. Green and
let me tell you something. They got
Kyler Murray's a novelty.
All right.
No, he's the real deal.
A.J. Green and Larry Fitzgerald.
So, I'm going to end it on a couple comments.
Thank you, Coach Mike. Thank you.
I'm going to end it on a couple comments, man. We got somebody who said Michael Ray was probably the best to come out. Nobody appreciates him from the box today.
I do.
Michael Thompson says, man, he says the guys. He said, Coach Mike, Troy, and Jason McBride, I guess he calls you guys the guys.
That's my dude.
Michael Thompson said he need to get with you. And Todd Penn says he loves coaching football. This is Game Point on a Friday. Enjoy your weekend. We are out.
Yay! Peace, Gracious.